How does this turn into business, right? So like, this is a nice photo op. This is cool. They said they're going to grow 470 million revenue Q2 expectations. That's a 5% increase from 446 million. The market didn't like that, but they said expect significant volatility to the upside. And they said it in a very like mysterious way because of blah, 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 blah. Do you think this actually lands like some serious dollars for the business over the next couple of months?
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to land a ton of business. Every company right now is trying to figure out, how do I make things work? Whether that be through data analytics, through not hiring as much staff, which employees do I let go? Which ones do I keep? Which areas do I invest in? Every company right now is trying to figure out how to be more conservative with their balance sheet. And if they're not, they're going to be gone by the end of the year. So I think yeah, the Palantir is definitely going to be serving a big purpose, and hopefully, like I said, those government, the commercial partners that they're signing up, they're probably relaying a lot of that message out there, saying, hey, listen, we were able to do this, that, and this for these companies. If you think about it, Palantir is a perfect tool for cost reduction. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but you could talk about it.
Sachin, go ahead.
I think that if you talk to like most of the senior executives and CDOs, so their biggest challenge at this particular point is that, yeah, I mean, we need something that is going to scale up on an organization of 80,000 people. Yeah, we have a lot of success on pilots and all that. So people are really fatigued by all these endless pilots they have done on the digital. They really want something that works today and that can be scaled up. So that's the challenge that a lot of executives are dealing at this particular time. Now, when executives deal with it, the question for them is that who is the partner and what are the products? Okay, they are also trying to figure it out. There is no point to reinvent the wheel where you don't add any value. So you only work on things where you create a product that is 10x better. Everything else you borrow from whatever best is available. So as this thinking is evolving, I mean, if you show an executive that there is a product that works in extreme situation, like if you talk about, for example, say mining, okay, people are in places in remote locations, safety is one of the biggest concern. You want to try some of the best analytics as possible. It makes difference at the end of the day on the ground. Okay, if you make 1% increase in the production of a company, okay, for example, in terms of say oil, okay, that 1% is millions of dollars for a lot of companies. Okay, for some companies it's even billions of dollars. So these are the real thing. They want effect now. They want the cash flow now. So more and more companies are realizing that enough is enough. I mean, we cannot go on reinventing the wheel. We need to build it. So the question is that yes, there is a lot of money on the table. The challenge is, can Palantir Salesforce can go and actually grab it? So like I said earlier in the part, see, think about this way. Let me lay it out in a very simple framework. Why a company succeed in data or digital? Okay, the company has to have some characteristic. They need to have what you call like a killer app. That means something which everyone wants. In a way, we can say that Foundry is somewhat there in terms of killer app where people appreciate, but they're still not there where everybody say we need it at whatever it takes. Like somebody want to have the Salesforce. The second thing is like time to value. Yes, it's there, but do they really have that compelling question that they really want this value now? It has to be very simple to implement. It has to be flexible. It has to be scalable. Palantir is not there yet because it's not the technology. It's their go-to-market channels where they struggle about. The product has to be thin. That means you buy the product without thinking. That means the time you are going to spend and effort in order to buy the product is actually more costly than buying the product. So the thinness of the product is something they have been working for a while, but they haven't achieved it. When you talk about portability or interoperability, like for example, if you take the case of BP has upstream, downstream. One is on AWS, another in Azure. Yeah, Palantir combines it pretty well. So interoperability is there in case of Palantir. Do they have self-service capabilities? No, they don't have it yet. I mean, they are increasing now. They're sharing their manuals. Like for example, if you go to a new age company like Harness and you say, okay, how do I test it? Just sign it up for a tire and you can actually access it. Palantir still doesn't have it. Then the next thing comes is the deep domain expertise. That means the industries you are working. Do you really have extreme in-depth knowledge. Like for example, we saw in the case of COVID and defense, they really have people from that domain, but they still do not have that kind of expertise in a lot of industries they are targeting. But they are building, as we talk about the expansion of sales team, talk about low code, no code. The maintenance of a platform has to be less. The change management requirement, which is and Chris will know it far better than me and Dom, is that people who are going to be the end user, I mean, if they don't like it, they create this kind of passive aggressive behavior in the organization where they don't say they are not using it. They say, yeah, it doesn't work in the way it is intended. So it creates a lot of negative cloud around it. So that is something which they need to work it out. When you talk about integrated partner ecosystem, marketplace, Palantir is nowhere near compared to when you talk about Snowflake. Okay, there is no marketplace for Palantir. There is, like, for example, if somebody is using Foundry and I say, let me launch my app on Foundry, okay, like you have an app store, there is nothing. You can do that for Snowflake. So because, for example, if you have that kind of marketplace, that means people are selling your platform to sell your product, and that doesn't exist. So that's something they need to do. They have like a very deep SI integration. That is something which they are trying to improve now. Like for example, if you take the case of AWS and Accenture, they have what they call like AWS Accenture Business Group. A lot of companies have SI integration for the endpoint customization. The last but not the least is the strong developer community support and engagement. For example, something which CodeStrap has discussed. This is something they have said they want to do it. So when you put like this 10, 12 things together, there are areas which Palantir has to work in order to capture that money on the table. And that is their biggest challenge at this particular point. Back to you.
That was so beautifully said. That was perfectly articulated. I wish we could just snippet that and send it to the leadership team there, because you articulated all of the challenges. And I hope they're aware of all these, that these challenges are challenges and not, stuck in their cultural ways. Because you hit on the key of SaaS. The key of subscription and reoccurring revenue is easy to consume and get the technology from day one, easy to deploy, and then a hell of a great customer experience that makes the customer want to be a reference, and they will shout to the rooftops. Why does Tesla not have a marketing team? Because every person who owns a Tesla is the marketing team. And so when you look at the case studies, I was looking at the case studies before jumping on here tonight, and I was trying to find quantifiable ROIs in their case studies, like Snowflake and others that is standard in the industry. And I didn't see a lot of those. There's a couple out there, but they're very vague case studies. And I know that not everything is top secret that they're doing, especially in the corporate side. So they should be able to articulate with Foundry how many millions of dollars they helped with HyperAuto and switching and consolidating CRMs for a customer. That is a great use case that literally could be applied to any organization. And so once you start doing that and quantifying that, then it becomes more reputable when you're in that sales engagement. So when you're talking to the customer, you say, look, we do X, Y, and Z. This is the benefit. This is the reduced time to value. You don't have to take my word for it. Let me bring in Joe over here at this other company that we actually sold this to. They've already received their ROI. We delivered on what we said we would deliver, and let the other customers sell that and explain the value they got. And that's how you grow a customer obsessed community that is truly excited and just over the moon about wanting to talk about the value they received, because what you said they were going to do, you delivered on, and you did it quick. So it's very important to do reduced time to value. That's why all of us here on our channels and CodeStrap, if CodeStrap's still there, I heard him last week and he was so spot on with a freemium model. We've all said freemium model. Like, get the developers to use this product and just get their hands on it. And developers do control a lot of the innovation and purse strings on what happens moving forward. And as microservices and Kubernetes continue to grow in distributed software, developers will have a say in a lot of what happens. So building out that developer community and getting a freemium model is key. They at least put the documentation out there now, but they need a freemium model so they can, and a modular, give out the different modules so you can, really tackle some use cases.
No, I agree, Dom. I mean, the way I look at it is they need to figure out how to build more momentum strategy. I mean, so there are like two kind of strategy. One is effort strategy. That means you put effort, you get sales. Momentum strategy is that kind of picks momentum on its own. That even if you stop doing it, you still get that kind of traction. Okay, and you need to have those kind of thin tiers, like a low entry barriers. That means people can buy you without thinking too much. Okay, you need to have this kind of self-service capability. So currently, what is happening is that the decision of buying Palantir, I mean, it's kind of an executive decision. Okay, and executive things like 20 things. So is it fine if I attach my brand with them or not? Okay, like for example, like I was having chat with my friend in Palantir, and I said, for example, I mean, I come mostly from energy, and a lot of my clients and my projects are in oil and gas at times. So we already get too much heat from a lot of communities and a lot of woke people as well, and liberals as well. So I said, like, a lot of people in different industries are not that sensitive over the branding also. But what they want a product that works on day one. So you need to, there are people who needs a different kind of solution and engagement than probably what you are looking at this particular time. So the Palantir, like I said, their sales and their numbers, in my opinion, is held back by them. Okay, and it's not the technology, it's their go-to-market. And the good thing is they have been improving upon it. Okay, now there are two things which are very important to understand. Everyone who has invested in Palantir is see how they have developed their product. They have developed their product in a very simple and a very winning strategy. That means I go to CIA and I say, okay, what problem do you need to solve? And they say, we need to solve this problem of tracking, let's say, drug trafficking. And then they come back in the office and they say, in order to solve that problem, what tools do we need? And then they build a tool. And on start of the tools, they build custom APIs and whatever front end CIA needs, and CIA owns that part. But the tool actually belongs to them, because they took that intellectual step back to think. Then they go to another company, for example, say BP or Rio Tinto, and they say, what problem do you need to solve? So this is how they managed to build a very strong and rich Foundry and Gotham platform, because they are building the set of tools to figure it out that these tools have a wider application in a lot of industries and a lot of solutions moving forward. And this is why, like, for example, if somebody says, and I see people go and say, oh, why cannot Microsoft do it? Yes, Microsoft can do it, but you need to understand what is Microsoft culture. Microsoft is the world's biggest commoditizer. They will take any technology and they will ruthlessly commoditize it, and they will give you a version which is literally free, but it's pretty bad and UI UX is bad, and it works for masses, but it doesn't work for high impact and high stake premium cases. And that is the difference, okay, between Microsoft doing something like this versus Palantir doing something like this.